Hey everybody, this is Jeff here. I'm actually working on some work right now, but I wanted to do a quick video on why I asked the last question I did in my Facebook post. And I'm going to give you a quick short story about something that is actually entertaining to me, uh, but it actually changed certain things in my life. Needless to say, when I thought I knew everything and I didn't. When I was in, we'll start out with junior high. When I was in junior high, I took my first Spanish course, and there was a wonderful young teacher by the name of Mrs. Smith. And Mrs. Smith basically was the Spanish teacher. It was in the basement of the junior high. And basically, I was struggling through the Spanish class and everything else. And I flat out said, look, I don't really need this. However, it was one of those classes you need to have an elective on. And so I did the best I could. And it's funny is because Mrs. Smith, her family is related to mine. And I didn't see her till years later. I'll get to that in a minute. But needless to say, I didn't feel I needed it. A lot of people were in the same boat as me, come from this small Midwest town, Quincy, Illinois. Why are you going to need it? Now, fast forward to my senior year at Quincy Senior High School. I had this wonderful, energetic teacher by the name of Miss Whitler. Miss Whitler was the Spanish teacher at Quincy Senior High, and I can't tell you how great this lady is, okay? The reason why is that had nothing to do with Spanish or anything else. She was just one of those that just loved what she did. She came to work every single day as a teacher knowing that the kids needed to be boosted up. Her entire, philosophy was nothing but kindness. However, she got me in her class along with several other people I'm sure that weren't the greatest. However, I told her one day, I was like, what do I need this class for? I mean, seriously, I have to get this class in order to graduate, but I couldn't figure out why I needed the class. And one of the reasons why I didn't feel I wanted the class is because I struggled with Spanish class, okay? I struggled with, learning Spanish. I struggled. And so, here I am talking to this lady who is the nice lady in the world, and I was like, look, she called me, like, and I got mad because I didn't want to learn it. I was so frustrated because it was hard for me to learn that I said, look, I'm never going to need Spanish. I don't understand. I come from Quincy, Illinois. Nobody around here speaks Spanish or anything else. And I don't understand why on earth I would need this class. I was like, because I don't plan on going anywhere that speaks Spanish. I don't. Anyway, she's like, well, you're going to need it someday. And I'm like, I understand. However, she said, look, if you get past it all, and everything else, I'll give you a passing grade and you can go ahead and graduate. I was like, great. So this summer after I graduated, I had a kid by the name of Juan in one of my swimming classes. And Juan's mom and dad and family were of Hispanic descent, and they were some of the nicest people. However, Juan, here's this little kid that's about, 3 years old, maybe 4, and he didn't speak a lick of Spanish. Or he didn't speak any English. And so I was actually going back in my brain housing group and trying to think of everything I was learned. I bought a couple books. I even bought tapes on Spanish just so I could teach this one little boy how to swim. Now, granted, him and we got along just fine, and to this day I haven't heard from him, but I thought the world of him. He did learn how to swim, did a great job. However, once, before summer ended, I joined the United States Marine Corps. And in back of my mind, I'm still thinking I never need Spanish, even though I just had a wake-up call with Juan. I wasn't thinking. So they sent me out to the West Coast, to San Diego, MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Now, why is this funny? Because after I graduated, after boot camp, we actually, between my boot camp and our School of Infantry training, we actually went down to Tijuana. And like almost everybody around us was some type of Spanish speaking or had a Spanish descent, which was really funny. And I'm like, okay, well, I was almost thinking now I'm going to need to know more Spanish, and I kind of feel bad for it, but it didn't happen that way. They decided that our duty station after SOI over at Camp Pendleton would be on the East Coast. However, almost everybody I served with had some type of Spanish background to them, or Hispanic, not Spanish, Hispanic background. There is a difference between Spanish speaking from Spain and Mexico and Central America. So we get out to the East Coast and everything else, and we were out there in the Fleet Marine Corps, and all of a sudden they say, hey, don't bother unpacking your bags too much. We're getting deployed. Okay, we're all looking at them. Turns out we got deployed down to Panama. Now, here all of a sudden I end up in a country that English nobody knows, and all they do is speak Spanish. Well, after we got out of there, then we went over to Spain. It's like everywhere I went, I needed Spanish. So I finally took a little bit of leave, and I ran into Mrs. Whitler, and I had to give her the ultimate apology, because out of everybody that she taught, I was one of the few that basically told her I don't need it. Well, I turned out to be one of the ones that needed it the most. It's just I didn't know what it was all about. Anyway, she was such a sweetheart and everything else, and we started laughing about it. However, I forgot all about Mrs. Smith. And I saw her at the Soapbox Derby for the first time in almost 20-some years. No, actually, it was about like 30 years because it was junior high. And she didn't know my story. All she knew is, oh, yeah, you didn't really feel like you did. Well, then I told her my story, and she just kind of like, all of a sudden, it was proven that she was right and I was wrong. But they, two outstanding teachers, two great teachers. However, I also have some of the greatest brothers around that are, they speak Spanish and stuff. Like a lot of them are out in California right now, and Sacramento and San Diego and stuff like that. But I wouldn't change it any way, shape, or form, because my Marine Corps brothers, they're everything to me. And then later on, I started meeting other people that had similar, they didn't speak too much English, but I made great friends with people that I never in a million years thought I'd be friends with, because language barriers. Now, I ask this is because the company I went into, I'm not going to show you my Spanish skills, Amanda. That's just wrong. I mean, it's terrible. But my company now is catering to anybody that has any type of, they speak Spanish, or have a Spanish background, or they don't speak very much English. And I think it's funny that everywhere I go, I need to know Spanish, when at the beginning part of all this, I never in a million years thought I'd need it. And I've given presentations and everything in Spanish. I have Spanish materials for people. But the one person back in, I'd say, 1997, 98, I never thought I'd need the very thing that I need more today than ever before. And it's true. It's just one of those stories that's really, really funny, that turns out karma hit me really hard. But I had some great people that taught me Spanish. And then, one of my good friends up in Chicago, Ivan Hernandez, he was at Western when I got there. When I went to WIU after the Marine Corps, I ran into this guy. He was another Marine. And it's funny because we talked one time, then all of a sudden it's like kind of like, hey, this is like a great guy. This is an awesome guy. And we always referred to him as that white boy or that Spanish guy. Hey, you see that Spanish Marine, the guy that speaks Spanish, blah, blah. And almost for a month we were looking for each other, and we'd ask the friend. It turns out he was just the floor below me over in Tanner Hall. And to this day, I think, he's probably one of my best friends. I think the world of him. And I just think that things like that, are very inspiring and everything. But when you think you don't need something, or you think that things are never going to pertain to you, you have to understand the future hasn't happened yet. I was under the belief that I'd never need a foreign language. Comes to turn out, I actually needed a bunch of foreign languages, and I learned. And it's just really, really interesting, really, really funny how, we can't see the future, so we basically right away, give ourselves a hazard by not learning the things that, we do need. And I know it's kind of a pointless story, but I'm happy to say that the company I'm with is really catering and really going out of their way for people of Hispanic descent, Spanish descent, people that speak broken English. And I couldn't be prouder of my company for doing. Now, our CEO, he you would never know, but he can just spout out Spanish like it's first, it's like second nature to him. I still can't do that. I still have to think about everything I say in Spanish. But there's other things. When we were in uh, Greece, they speak a different dialect. Some of the Mediterranean countries I've been to speak a different dialect. Brazil speaks Portuguese. Anyway, never the moral of this. Don't prejudge something before it happens. If you think you're never going to need something, you more than likely will. And if you just do it for fun, that's great. But always, keep an open mind to different ideas, different teachings, different lessons in life because they mean the world. And right now, like I said, the company I'm with, not only was I with, my brothers in the Marine Corps, but now my company is catering to help people, that are here legally, and I know I had somebody say something. It's like, I don't really care if somebody's legal or illegal. I do care that the people that are going in first, the correct way, need to take precedence over the people that come in illegally. But that's all I'm going to say on that. It's because I served with a lot of honorable people that came here the right way. But it's just funny because, like I said, we never know what we're going to need. And right now, our company is also going to cater to those that are here legally, but they may not speak very well English or whatever. And I think it's awesome. And I always think that story, I could write a book with half the stuff that goes on in my life because so many people could never imagine everything I've done or what I've gone through or who, good and bad. And so, as you see, I'm going to put up some stuff on my Facebook page and several other pages, and you may learn who a lot of my friends are because, yes, they speak English and Spanish, but, I need to let them know some stuff with my company and everything. And anyway, it's just one of those really cool stories. And that little boy Juan, when I was a lifeguard at Wavering, it all started with him. And I still need it to this day. So anyway, hope you all are having a great day. I just wanted to share that little story with you. It's the little things in life that make up the big stories. Larry, hola to you too, my friend. As far as me, I'm crazy, which means I'm local. But I'm sure my Spanish will get better and better as I start taking it on again. But anyway, I just wanted to share that funny story with you and let you know about two great teachers I had in my life, Mrs. Whitler and Mrs. Smith, who are just two outstanding people. And anyway, that's it. Hope you all are having a great night tonight. Hope everything's going great. Remember, each and every one of you matters. Remember, each and every one of you is important. And I look forward to talking to you all soon. Thank you for listening to me today. And I look forward to talking with you all soon. Bye now.